I am Sharon Yusayupon from BS Ed 3 Filipino Major at NVSU Bambang Campus. Today, I am going to present a lesson in facilitating child-centered learning. Specifically, the topic is learner-centered psychological principles. So, what are these learner-centered psychological principles? It was introduced to us by the American Psychological Association or APA on the year 1990. So originally, there were 12 learner-centered psychological principles. But after 7 years, it was revised and it was now 14 learner-centered psychological principles. So, what are these 14 principles? These 14 principles are divided in 4 domains. The first one is cognitive and metacognitive. The second one is motivational and affective. The third is developmental and social. And the last one is individual differences factors. So, let's start to discuss the cognitive and metacognitive factor. There are 6 principles in this domain. The first one is nature of the learning process. Second one, goals of the learning process. Third one, construction of knowledge. Fourth, strategic thinking. Fifth, thinking about thinking. Sixth, context of learning. So, this domain refers to true processes involved in learning as well as the strategies students use to learn and their reflections about their thoughts. This learner-centered principle indicate that the learning processes, particularly for complex materials, is most effective when students intentionally construct meaning from information and experience from their experiences. The learner-centered principle indicates that learning is influenced by various environmental factors such as culture, technology, and instructional or facilitator practice. Ito yung nai-impluwensyahan ang mga estudyante ng kanilang kultura, kung saang kultura sila nabibilang. So, the second domain is motivational and affective factors. So, there are 3 principles in this domain. The first is motivational and emotional influences on learning. The second is intrinsic motivational to learn. The third is effect of motivations on efforts. So, these domains refers to students' effort and engagements while learning and emotional states, beliefs and interests that influence learning. So this domain indicate that the student's motivation to learn is natural when they perceive the context to be supportive and the content to be meaningful and relevant. Student effect influences their motivation, na ma-motivate sila at yung kanilang pag-aaral ay naapektan at nagiging mas meaningful siya kapag may motivated sila. That are optimal novelty and difficulty, are relevant to personal and interest, and provide personal choice and control, enhancing students' intrinsic motivation. Let's go to the third domain. This is the developmental and social factors. There are 2 principles in this domain. The first one is developmental influence on learning, and the second one is social influence on learning. This domain refers to a student's previous experience and learning readiness as well as interpersonal relationship among students and teachers that affect the current learning. So, students have different previous learning experiences and opportunities. Student, mayroon tayong pagkakaiba sa pagdating sa learning. May mga experiences tayong iba-iba. Di naman pwedeng pare-pareho. Meron namang pagkakapareho, pero mayroon pa rin yung time na iba. They have also different in developmental levels in the intellectual, emotional, physical, and social development. Learning is influenced by student positive interaction and personal relationship with other student and relevant adults. So, may positivity daw ang estudyante kapag interact siya sa other, nakikihalubilo siya sa iba. So, let's go with the fourth domain, the last domain. This is the individual difference factor. Ito yung pagkakaiba ng individual. There are three principles in this domain. The first one is individual differences in learning. The second one is learning and in diversity. The third one is standards and assessment. This domain refers to the difference between and within students that influence learning. These principles indicate that individual students have different strategies and skills for learning based on their backgrounds and prior learning experiences. Instructional practices that account for these differences in culture and backgrounds are more effective. And in addition, is setting standards and expectations that are appropriately high for individual students and assessing students on their progress towards achieving those standards are integral to learning. So, why is it important to understand the principle of learner-centered learning? Learner-centered psychological principles provide a framework for developing and incorporating the components of new design for schooling. These principles emphasize the active and reflective nature of learning and learners. So, paano naman natin to maia-apply pag naging teacher tayo? How we will apply these principles when we become a teacher? So, based on the literature and the experience of the teaching faculty, there are 10 principles of effective teaching were recommended. Nire-recommend nila ito sa mga magiging teacher, sa ating magiging teacher, sa aming magiging teacher, future educator. These are the create an active learning environment, focus attention, connect knowledge, help students organize their knowledge, provide timely feedback, demand quality, balance high expectations with student support, enhance motivation to learn, communicate your message in a variety of ways, and help students to productively manage their time. So, a future teacher, future educator someday, kailangan kong i-motivate ang isang estudyante para mag-aral at pag-aralan ang 14 principles. So, in a summary ng lahat ng sinabi ko, learner-centered education helps the student develop skills that will better equip them for their professional careers. So, inihahanda na as a future educator, inihahanda natin yung mga estudyante natin sa kanilang future. So, ito lamang ang alam ko tungkol sa 14 principles and I'm still studying about this. At sana nakatulong ako at nakapagbigay ako ng tamang definisyon ng 14 principles, tamang pagpapahalaga ng 14 principles. Maraming salamat at thank you for listening and watching. Bye!